The gentleman from Pennsylvania reserves. The gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, let me just say that I'm proud of the work that the Rules Committee has done over the past two sessions, and I just want to contrast that where our focus has been and what we have accomplished to the party of no. You know, when we took over, we passed a new rules package that actually had bipartisan support for the first time in over a decade. We had the first ever Office of Diversity and Inclusion to recruit, train, and develop and promote and retain congressional workforce that reflect the diversity of the American people. We established a select committee on the modernization of Congress, which has already led to real changes to improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of our congressional community. We required a member day hearing so that all members had a chance to be heard across the Congress. We implemented a consensus calendar to expedite consideration of ideas with broad bipartisan support. We had remote voting by proxy and remote committee proceedings to keep Congress functioning during a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic. Over a dozen hearings and roundtables and site visits in at least 8 cities and numerous interactive discussions on social media exploring what it will take to finally end hunger in America, which led to the first White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health in over 50 years. The first ever congressional hearing on Medicare for All, the first ever congressional hearing on seating a delegate from the Cherokee Nation. Landmark legislation that President Biden signed into law will have a positive impact for generations to come. The American Rescue Plan, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law to rebuild America and reinvest in our communities, the Inflation Reduction Act to lower prices for consumers and invest in clean energy to address the climate crisis, the Safer Communities Act to reduce gun violence, the Respect for Marriage Act to guarantee and expand civil rights for all Americans, the CHIPS and Science Act to turbocharge American manufacturing, and requiring legislation to have a hearing and a markup before being considered on the floor. We set an example of disagreeing without being disagreeable, even during polarized times like 2 presidential impeachments. One journalist praised our hearing in the Rules Committee as a masterclass in what civility and respectful disagreement should look like in Congress. I just want to say none of these accomplishments would have been possible without the incredible staff on the Rules Committee, and I want to ask unanimous consent to insert into the record the names of all staff, Democratic and Republican, who have spent countless hours at the Rules Committee over the last 4 years, working late at night, early in the morning, and every time in between to help bring legislation to the floor to improve the lives of the American people. And I also want to thank the House and Senate. I also want to thank the House and Senate clerks who have been working around the clock trying to get the Omnibus text to us as quickly as possible. Their work has not gone unnoticed, and I think it's important for us to reflect on the hard work of the people who serve all of us in this Congress, and I'm proud to have worked with all of them on both sides of the aisle. With that, I reserve my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman.